Now what we're going to do is if loaded file dot is underscore open. This checks if file correctly opened. If it hasn't, and why is it complaining? Oh, it's not complaining. If it didn't, we're gonna let player know that the file could, for example, not exist, or it could be corrupted. So what we're gonna say is file could not be open, and we probably should mention what file it is as well. So it's level layout.txt, std and l. Alright, so if file isn't opened correctly, we'll get this error. Now, if it is opened correctly, on the other hand, what we're going to do is loop through each line using a while loop. While loaded file dot good. So while the file is good, we loop through it. Now what we're gonna do is get each line of the file using getLines function, which doesn't exist because that's part of string. So what we need to add is string. And it's going to be SD getLine. Open, and it takes the file, which is loaded file, and comma, and a string which we want to put this line into. So what we're going to do is create a string, and we can just call it line, and so it will put it to a line. So now we have each line of the file. Now what we're going to do is, let's just display them for now. So what we're going to do is display each line. Let's run it. Here might this, the file could not be open, level layout.txt. And it's not called level layout, it's called stage layout. So now we know what this error actually works. Alright, as you can see, it displayed everything that's in the file, each line. Now we have to check what kind of information you're loading, like if it's a tree or a rock. So we can actually create another enum defining what it is, and it could be either none, enum, let's just say object type, and we can say type none, type 3. So for now we're just gonna have two of them, non-type, type none, and type 3. And we have to put semicolon here so it doesn't give us an error. And we should create another integer called current type equals, let's create after this, and is going to be type none. And what we're going to do is have an if statement. If line is 3, 4, begin 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So if it is that, then current type is type none. It's 1 equals. Not type none, type 3, my bad. Else if line is and 3, current type is none. Non-type. Oh, it's type none? Type none. Now what we're going to do is else, and we'll put the whole thing inside the else. And then if the current type is type 3, then we're gonna display the lines. So now if you have multiple types, this will work with multiple types, as long as you add those types inside here, like rock begin. So you would have like else rock begin rock, end rock, and you would have a new type here, like type rock. And then you can have a segment here if current type is type rock, if current type is type 3, and then display lines for those you want. So now we have the lines of the information. We're getting the lines of the information we will need. We'll need those lines to get those information instead of the begin 3 and end 3. So now what we need to do is decode this line and get the x and y value. Now we're going to get each word from the given line. So what we're going to do is use SDI string stream, and we call it S with 2 S's for I and string and stream. And it is not because we didn't include it. I believe it's include SS stream. And now it should work. And what we're gonna do is put inside the line. And we're getting this error because I misspelled stream. I wrote steam. So it's I string stream IIS, and we're going to pass in line inside. And what we're gonna do is while IIS. So we're gonna loop through each word. Oh, while, not white. While. Now we're looping through each word of the line. Now what we're gonna do is create another string, std string, and we can say word. So each word, and what we're gonna do is ISS inside less than, 2 less thans, and word. So now we have each word, and we can just display them for now, just to make sure. SD word, SD and L. So let's run it. And as you can see, it displayed each line. I'm not sure why it's displaying an empty line here, but we got X word, then we got 275, Y word 90. Keep in mind, this is not integer. It is integer, but in the code it's actually a string at the moment. since this is the whole string and we're just going getting part of the string. So we'll have to convert this into an integer. But for now, what we're going to do is we have to check if the given number is x or y. And by that we can check this x and this y. So what we're going to do is create two integers. Let's just call it temp x. Let's just make them 0. Temp y is 0. And those are the x's and y's we're going to get eventually. What we're going to do is, if word is x, that means we have x at the moment, but what we don't want x, we want the value afterwards. So this shouldn't be a word, this should be another string, which we can create before. We have to actually create before this while loop. And we're going to say last word, so it was a word previous to, and let's go previous word. And what we're going to do is, if previous word is x, that means the current word is the x value. So we can actually set temporary x to this word. But we cannot do that because this is a string, as like I said. But we can use the function called a2i. A toy a2i, and we simply pass this in. And it doesn't want this because you have to do that c underscores str. So now this will convert the string to integer, which we can set it to this integer. But we don't know what is previous string. What we're going to do is, at the end, we set previous string to word. So once we go through this and the previous word isn't equal to that, and we should set it to nothing at the beginning. So that means we have x and we can set x. Now we can just copy that, paste it below, and if it's equal to y, that means that temp y is equal to this word. Now we actually have x and y, but to make sure we can